I am Desmond Achu, Solar Coordinator for ADES Cameroon, which is actually a subsidiary of ADES UK. We run solar panel systems here, which includes installation, in the general sense installation, follow-up and loading. So ADES Cameroon is involved in many activities and training, including solar panels, IT trainings and many more, but in this department we specified solar panels and solar energy and how to install them and make sure they run properly. Right behind me we are using 4 solar panels which are actually part of a system comprising many components that power the entire power base of the ADES Cameroon Training Center, which is where we are right now. So the solar panels that are here are 285 watt solar panels, and they are all queued up in parallel to increase the current while stabilizing the voltage. So these solar panels are 285 watt each, and there are 4 of them, which total to about 36 amperes in current and 36 volts, which have enough power to charge the batteries that can in turn power the whole of ADES, which constitutes of about 20 computers, powerful printers up to 1,700 watts, radiographs and a security system, and also incorporating general lighting of the premises. And this can also power a home containing about 5 rooms, including sitting rooms, dining rooms, kitchen, and with also luxury equipments like a fan or blenders in a complete home setting, let's say. Okay, haven't seen this, let me quickly show you the power base that contains the battery and the charge controller and the place. Okay, so here we are in the power room of ADES Cameroon here in Boya, which comprises the other 3 components of the solar system which I mentioned earlier. Here you have the inverter, a charge controller, and the battery. Now let me quickly enumerate the functions of the various systems for you. The charge controller receives the power from the solar panel and charges the battery. And then the battery in turn supplies power to the inverter, which then supplies power to the other systems or to the systems that need electricity. And the other things that you see here are cable work and protection equipment. Now the system is made up of 150 ampere charge controller, 400 ampere hour battery pack, and 2000 watt inverter, which is a pure sine wave, which means it gives you the equivalent of what you get from utility at its best. And also the system is very robust and can function for very lengthy hours due to the good battery capacity. This is based for the energy needs of ADES Cameroon, which consists of 4 batteries, 2 kilowatt power inverter. Then the system is scalable. You can move it up or down depending on the power needs of a customer. For instance, you can either increase the amount of batteries or reduce them, or change the size of the solar panel. And as you do the scaling up or scaling down, at one point it might also necessitate a change in the amount of solar panels, either increasing or reducing. For instance, if you reduce the amount of batteries, depending on how much sunlight you have in your area, you might need to increase the solar panels or reduce the solar panels to be able to charge the batteries in a predetermined amount of time in order to be certain about your autonomy and the amount of power that is available to you. The system we have here is a custom design system according to the needs of the customer, as I earlier said. But for quicker installations and plug and play systems, I may say, we have something else that is already custom designed, which I would show you. Okay, now right here, this is a mini sorting space for the warehouse. We use this space to move things that we want to go out with. Right here in front of me are the custom design systems that I talked about earlier, which contain everything we saw in the power room in this single container. So the only thing you have to add here is the solar panel. And then how does this work? You hook up the solar panel to these cables behind here. You hook up the solar panels to these connectors, and then it charges up the system, and you have AC outputs for home loads like electric irons or anything that you may want to use in your house. And you also have USB ports you can directly charge your phone. This can be particularly good for picnics and or for houses in remote areas without power. So you can actually carry it from town in your car to your village home or to your vacation home and spend maybe a week there and you have no power issues. This comes in various sizes according to the needs of the user. You have this is 1.8 kilowatt hour, and this is 0.75 kilowatt hour, and this is 2.5 kilowatt hour. So all of them have different panel sizes that charge up the battery, but are systems that are made less cumbersome and plug and play, let's say in computer language is plug and play, which means you could just carry it, plug the solar panels, and you're good to go for a week or two, or for the length of time you have in your vacation home or in your remote area. Okay, so here we have solar panels. Basically in our warehouse we have two sizes of solar panels. We have this smaller solar panel which is 120 watts, and we have the bigger panel which is 285 watts. Now in terms of load, the smaller solar panel can support a student size room per se in tandem with the other components that make up the solar system. This can power up maybe a TV, the student's laptop, and lighting. While a bigger solar panel with the right components attached could power a small home alone. One alone could power a small home, say the size of a studio, with a TV and other accessories. And like I talked about earlier, these are the solar. We are using the 285 watt solar panels with the ADES Center Cameroon. We have 4 solar panels up, and we are still at maybe half the capacity. And very important, unlike generators, standby generators, you cannot change the power of your generator without changing the entire system. For solar panels, it's different. It's actually scalable. You can actually start small and increase your solar system without discarding what you had previously installed. So it means you can just simply add components onto the panel to make it to get to the power that you want. That is to say, it's economical in the long run. For instance, solar panels, if you want to increase your system from 1 to 2 kilowatts, all you need to do is increase maybe solar panels and battery, or change inverter, which means that you do not discard the entire system to make this change. Okay, so you follow me quickly. Let me show you the ADES training center, which is actually the load base that is supplied by the solar panel system that I just showed you. This is we are still in the ADES premises, but the training center it is in break mode, I should say. Now, for a small illustration, this is a line from the solar panels, which powers the whole of this room, including all of these heavy duty printers. This printer alone is 1,700 watts, which is a lot of power. This printer alone can supply about 10 of these computers here, and in total we have about 20 computers in this hall, all running on solar power. So if I print something from this computer, you will see that the solar panel or the solar system handles it effortlessly. As easy as that. Just for perspective, we have about 20 computers here, which can run to a total of about 1,800 watts, and this printer, which is 1,700 watts, which we don't use combined. But like I mentioned earlier, just in case I want to scale the system up, I don't need to replace the whole solar system, but I just add solar panels and battery and the inverter, which should be cost effective. And also, it's unlike a generator, which would come in more expensive and you need to change the whole system. And alongside this, you have a team of professionals that will help you with the installation, maintenance and after sales services. And also we have professionals that can help you with consulting that will help you make the best decision, the best choice for what kind of installation you need and why you should choose solar.
First of all, solar will needs very little maintenance, and it's harvesting free sun, which is converted to energy. So it will not go off, because the solar system implies that in the afternoon you use the power of the sun, and then with the storage battery system in the night when there's no sun, you draw power from this energy which is stored in the battery. So it's unlike other utilities where sometimes for reasons natural or otherwise they go off and then you may be in darkness. But with the solar system you'll be on live, have energy 24 hours, 7 days a week, you have no problem. The key is that before you install, this is where the consultancy comes in, we need to take the requirements of your needs, requirements of your house or your business, and then we put the system that you will use 24/7 and you never have blackouts and outages. Now with the scalability of solar, this is a good point about benefit of it, that you can start with a very small system that may be just power 1 or 2 machines or even just provide light, and then eventually we just increase that system to as many or as big as you need it with time to power more equipment beyond just bulbs. So the scalability makes it very handy compared to other utilities where once it's installed, you cannot scale it. Or even if you can scale, for instance, other utilities, it may not be as reliable because the sunlight is always there. We have, in Africa, there's enough sunlight compared to, much more sunlight compared to Europe. We have maybe 10 times as much sunlight in the tropics compared to Europe. And Europe already is making heavy use of solar because it's cost effective. It's reliable, compared to other sources like sources from hydro, maybe from fossil fuel and others. What ADES has taken a step to do is to first of all educate any person who wants to buy the system so that they are conversant with what they are buying and what it can do for them. So you have a range of prices depending on the power of the system and the requirements of the customer. So we have a system which goes from about 0.5 kilowatt hour. When we say 0.5, we can explain that later, which the cost range is from 250. We can say, no, actually a bit lower than that. 0.5 kilowatt system will cost about 220, 230, up to a system which is around 2.5 kilowatt hour, which may be around 1.4, 1.5 million. But it's a scalable system, so there are 2 categories which you've heard the technician talk about. The ones which are pre-built, customized for mobile use when you're going for camping. Those they are from 0.6 kilowatt to 2.5 kilowatt. Those again you can get as and when you need. But the ones that we need to build up for you based on your needs, like the ones you've seen at this center, which was built custom to meet the requirements of the ADES Cameroon Center. We can build that from a low to a high value as well. And as I mentioned earlier, the price range is from as low as 220, 230 to 1.4, 1.5. We're giving this price because this is typical load. It will carry typical load for various businesses, household environments, small businesses. This will mostly fit in this range. So I may say that we may not be able to go much below 220 because it will, because of the components available to us at this point in time. But that is why there's the consultancy service, where depending on your needs, if you need below that, we have access to import other categories of components that will meet other requirements beyond what we've just given. So I would like to throw some light on this costing and some misinformation that people may be passing around. Somebody should not just tell you that with 1 million or 1.5 you can have solar that will meet your requirements. This will not be correct, because what you buy depends on your equipment. Yes, your equipment determines your need, and then we get the power that will match those needs. To give you a vivid picture of how the different requirements may be, somebody in a studio or a one-room house may have 2, 3, 4 bulbs, and somebody in a small apartment may have up to 10 bulbs. So the person of the 10 bulbs will need a different system from that with a studio or one-room apartment. So somebody will not just give you a blanket price. It will be based on what equipment you have and what power you need. So some houses may have television, some may have AC, and then others may have other heavy-duty equipment, maybe washing machines and so on. The power they will need is different from those who maybe just have their laptops and phones to charge. So this is why the price depends on what equipment you have, and so that is why we have a consultancy service where when you come, you give your requirements, we come and assess your equipment, and then we can give you the appropriate equipment and the cost that we need to pay for the solar to back up your system.